Hi, you're watching Reddit Confessions. Let me tell you what happened 5 minutes after she left for that party. The moment her car turned out of the driveway, I opened the bedroom window, climbed out with a duffel bag, and hit the ground running. Literally. I didn't slam a door. I didn't leave a note. I didn't even turn off the porch light. I wanted everything to feel normal for her, until it wasn't. You see, while she was sipping wine and dancing in a stranger's kitchen, I was 118 miles away, sitting on a motel bed with a prepaid phone in one hand and a list of accounts to delete in the other. And no, I wasn't hiding from her. I was escaping the version of me that let this nonsense go on for far too long. The locks were changed by midnight. The utilities were scheduled for shutoff. I even canceled the grocery delivery she set for Sunday. You might think that's petty, but when your wife cheats on you with someone who has a man bun and a motorcycle he can't afford, your sense of dignity breaks in unusual ways. She said it was a party, just a little escape from the stress of married life. She didn't know I'd been planning my own escape for months. She didn't know I'd read the texts. She didn't know I saw the vacation selfies she forgot to delete from the hidden album. She didn't know I overheard her whispering to someone named Cole in the laundry room at 2 a.m. She didn't know I bought a second phone, recorded her late-night calls, or that I started sleeping with my car keys in my pocket. But most of all, she didn't know that tonight, when she walked out dressed like she was single and 22 again. She was walking out of a life that had already ended. There will be no dramatic confrontation, no screaming match, no suitcase waiting at the door. There will be silence, an absence, a void. And when she comes back, drunk, giggling, texting that idiot, she'll find the door doesn't open. The windows are dark, and everything that once held my presence is gone. She'll realize, too late, that the only party worth remembering was the one she just missed, the one where I finally celebrated my freedom. Delaney pulled into the driveway at 2:38 a.m. I know because I had the ring cam forwarded to my burner phone. Her heels clicked against the pavement like nothing had changed, like the night had been a blur of cheap champagne and borrowed flirtation. She didn't stumble. She was too calculated for that. She approached the front door with her phone still in her hand, mid-text, probably to him. Cole, the man who, apparently, understood her more deeply than I ever did. She reached for the handle like it was any other Friday night and twisted. The click didn't come. I saw her stop. Blink. Try again. She bent down, probably thinking some part of her buzzed brain just misaligned the key. I could almost hear her confusion, feel it ripple through her body like the cold night air. She tried again, 3 more times, then knocked once, softly, like she expected me to have fallen asleep on the couch like always. But the porch light didn't flicker on. The blinds didn't rustle. No dog barked, no voice shouted out. I got it, because I wasn't there. I wasn't anywhere she could reach. I watched as she stepped back and looked up at the windows. That's when it hit her. The living room, once filled with our mismatched lamps, her useless throw pillows, my worn-out reading chair, was empty. The bookshelves? Bare. The wall where our engagement photo used to hang? Just an outline of dust and faded paint. And the strangest part? There wasn't anything dramatic about it. No mess. No signs of chaos. It was clean. Cold. Final. She pulled out her phone. She called me. It rang once, then played the message I'd recorded hours earlier. The number you've dialed is no longer in service. Then silence. Then a scream. Not a theatrical one. Not the kind you hear in movies. It was smaller. More wounded. Like she realized the rules of the game had changed and no one had told her. She wasn't in control anymore. The home she left behind so casually wasn't waiting patiently like it used to. She texted. I didn't read them. Just saw the bubbles form and disappear over and over again. My cousin, Evan, messaged me an hour later. She's sitting on the curb, crying. Wants to know where you went. I didn't answer. I just stared at the blank motel ceiling and whispered to myself. Now she knows how it feels to be locked out. But trust me, this was only the beginning of the storm. While Delaney sat on the curb trying to call a man who no longer existed in her phone book, I was staring out the window of a red-eye flight. Middle seat, no sleep, chewing the inside of my cheek so hard I could taste copper. The airport was crowded with people leaving for vacations, honeymoons, fresh starts. And somehow, I fit in. No one looked at me and saw a man who just ghosted his wife. I was invisible. It felt freeing. And terrifying. I didn't even pack much. Just a small carry-on with my laptop, some clothes, and the manila envelope I had hidden under our bed for 6 weeks. Inside were printed screenshots of her texts to Cole, hotel confirmations, a receipt for lingerie she paid for with our joint credit card. His name was literally auto-filled on the shipping address. She didn't even try to hide it. That hurt the most. Evan, my cousin, texted me again around 6 a.m. She's still there. Been crying for hours. Wants to know if she's been robbed or if you're hurt. I stared at that message for a long time. She thought maybe I'd been mugged or disappeared for some noble reason. I guess it never occurred to her that I left because of her. That I chose the quiet path because she'd never have heard me over the noise of her excuses. As the flight took off, I remembered her voice 1 week earlier, right after a yoga class that went 3 hours late. She'd come home flushed, laughing. "Curtis, you should try meditation sometime. You bottle things up." And maybe I did. Maybe I bottled up every dinner I cooked alone, every cold shoulder, every fake laugh she gave me when I tried to be funny. Maybe I bottled it all up until it exploded without a sound. I wasn't sure where I was going to land emotionally, but geographically, it was Portland. My old college friend offered me a couch and a job interview. I didn't say yes to either. I just said I might show up. It wasn't a plan. It was a direction, and that was more than I'd had in months. Meanwhile, she kept calling. She still didn't know that I left with more than just my clothes. I left with proof, and soon, everyone else would see it too. By the time I landed in Portland, Delaney had messaged me 17 times. Some were cold and confused. "Where are you?" Others panicked. "Did something happen?" And the last few carried a stinging edge of guilt-coated blame. "This is cruel, Curtis. You could have just talked to me." Talked to her? I tried. 100 times. I whispered to her in bed when she turned away. I asked her what was wrong when her eyes looked past me during dinner. I offered to go to therapy. I begged her to tell me the truth when I already knew it. And still, she lied. So no, I didn't know her conversation. I owed myself closure. I checked into a short-term rental near the river. Quiet, dusty, forgotten by time. A perfect match for how I felt inside. I opened my laptop and stared at the folder titled Final Draft. Inside were photos, chat logs, timestamps, even a video. No nudity, just Delaney cuddled up with Cole in a restaurant booth, whispering, laughing, and kissing his neck while wearing the necklace I'd bought her for our anniversary. She had no idea someone had been following her. Not some creepy stalker, just a tired, heartbroken husband who hired a discreet professional to collect truth. And now I had enough of it to bury her reputation without ever raising my voice. But I wasn't going to post it online. I wasn't that cruel. Instead, I selected 5 people: her mother, her sister, her boss, her best friend Jenna, and the HOA president who she constantly tried to impress. I drafted one email. No dramatic monologue. No emotional plea. Just one line at the top. She said I deserved better, so I walked away. Here's why. Then I attached the files. I didn't send it. Not yet. I just let the cursor hover over the send button. Because part of me still wondered, what would hurt her more? Public fallout, or realizing I'd never give her the satisfaction of a fight. She built her escape plan on lies. I built mine on silence. And silence was winning. 3 days passed, and I still hadn't pressed send. Not because I doubted what she did, but because I was starting to understand the depth of what I had done. I hadn't just walked away. I'd evaporated. Vanished from the shared calendar of her life without a single goodbye, and I didn't feel triumphant. I felt weightless, hollow. Like I had removed my name from my own story just to stop being the punchline. But then something strange happened. Evan sent me a message. She's not staying at the house anymore. Packed a bag. Looks like she left town. That one hit weird. She left? Where? Why? I checked the security cam one last time. She'd shown up again, tried the lock, then just stood there. No calls this time. Just silence. She stared at the house for almost 5 full minutes. Then she turned, got in her car, and drove off. No slamming, no tears, no desperation. Just a slow, calm exit like she was the one leaving me. But she didn't know what I'd found the night before. In her old iPad, the one she thought was broken, the one she forgot to wipe, there were notes. Not texts, not chats. Notes. Drafts of things she wanted to say. Letters she never sent. Conversations she rehearsed and never had. And one line hit me like a brick to the throat. Curtis has no idea I've been trying to leave him quietly. I just don't want to be the villain. Quietly. She cheated. Lied. Gaslit. And I'm the one who vanished without a trace. And she still wanted the dignity of being the one who left first? I sat there, rereading that sentence over and over, until I realized something. This was never about Cole. He was a symptom, a distraction. Her real betrayal was the quiet erasure of us while I was still in the room. And I had the files, the story, the receipts. But suddenly, revenge felt small. She didn't ruin me. She just discarded me. Quietly. Softly. The way you let go of an old coat. But I wasn't done being loud yet. I pulled up my email again. This time, I didn't hover. I clicked send. And the fallout began. The first reply came in less than 20 minutes. Her sister. A single sentence. No punctuation. What exactly am I looking at here? Then Jenna. The best friend who used to roll her eyes every time Delaney made a scene. Jenna wrote a full paragraph, asking if this was some kind of deep fake, if it was a prank, if I was out of my mind. But halfway through the message, the tone cracked. I don't know what to say. I feel sick. I didn't answer any of them. By noon, Delaney's boss had seen it. I know because LinkedIn notified me he'd viewed my profile. Twice. Her job was built on image, team leadership, women's empowerment panels, integrity, and branding. I didn't ruin her career. I just held up a mirror. And still, no message from her. No email. No voicemail. Nothing. Until the next morning. It came through at 4:17 a.m., like she couldn't sleep and gave in. Subject line, seriously? I opened it. No greeting. No emotion. Just 6 words. You could have just left quietly. That line made my skin crawl. She wanted silence. Again. As if my role was to suffer politely and exit without ripples. As if her betrayal wasn't messy enough already. I closed the laptop without replying. Later that day, Evan texted me. Thought you'd want to know, she showed up at Mom's. His mother. My aunt. The woman who had framed our wedding invitation and kept it in the hallway for years. Apparently Delaney stood outside her door for half an hour, unsure whether to knock. When she finally did, Evan's mom answered, looked her in the eye, and said, "He's not your husband anymore. Leave." That's when Delaney cried. The first time anyone saw her break. But I didn't feel proud. I felt nothing. And that scared me more than any scream ever could. The fire was burning, and she was finally standing in it. But me? I wasn't even warm. For days after I sent the email, I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. It was a photo. No text. Just an image. Her. Standing outside what used to be our favorite diner, clutching the necklace I gave her 3 anniversaries ago. It looked bent, like she tried to rip it off in anger, but couldn't. I stared at it longer than I should have. Not because I missed her, but because I didn't recognize her face. She looked older. Smaller. Not the woman who used to control every room she walked into. Her eyes weren't just sad, they were lost. And I realized something in that moment. This whole time, she thought I was the one who needed closure. The one left behind. But she hadn't grasped the truth yet. I didn't disappear because I was broken. I disappeared because I was finally done pretending. I walked to a coffee shop that afternoon, same place I'd been going for the past week. The barista, a guy named Nolan, asked me again if I wanted oat milk instead of regular. That's when it hit me. I was slowly becoming someone else. A guy with a new routine. A new regular. A man who didn't jump when he heard his wife's name. Back at the rental, I opened an old email chain I hadn't touched in over a year. A job offer I once declined because we couldn't move right now. I replied, said I was available. I didn't even flinch. But the real shift came later that night, when Jenna texted me again. She wasn't angry anymore. Just numb. She said Delaney was asking everyone to stop talking to her. That she was ashamed. That she said I killed her life. No, I didn't kill her life. She walked it off a cliff and blamed the wind. I didn't reply to Jenna either. Because some people don't need to be answered. They just need to live with the echo of silence they once created. It's been 2 weeks since I sent the email. 10 days since I stopped checking to see if she'd write again. 5 days since I realized I hadn't thought about her until just now. I can't explain how it happens. The moment grief quietly folds itself into something else. It doesn't announce its exit. It just leaves space for peace to enter. Today I signed the lease on a small studio apartment above a bookstore. Nothing fancy, creaky floors, weird plumbing, and a view of a laundromat across the street. But for the first time in years, it's mine. There's no perfume I didn't buy lingering in the air. No silence that feels like punishment. Just me, a borrowed couch, and the smell of old books. I got the job, by the way. The one I turned down when I thought we were still building a future together. They remembered me. Said they were still impressed. I almost laughed. I haven't felt impressive in years. But maybe I don't need to be impressive. Maybe I just need to feel real again. Jenna never reached out after that last text. Neither did her sister. Or her boss. I assumed Delaney's dealing with the mess on her own terms. Maybe that's fair. I didn't ruin her life. I just stopped protecting it. She'll recover. She'll rebuild. But she'll never get to rewrite what happened. And me? I'm learning how to live in quiet again. But this time, not the kind where you're ignored in your own home. This kind is peaceful, clean. No footsteps I dread hearing. No late-night whispers that weren't meant for me. Just silence and a new beginning. So if you're still watching, still reading, still wondering if it's worth walking away when something inside you feels broken, I hope this story gave you your answer. You are not a ghost. You are the author. Thanks for being here with me. And now I want to hear from you. What's a real-life historical event that shocked you or changed how you see the world? Drop it in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this, only on Reddit Confessions. Until next time.